going ahead again now into picks and bans. It is, of course, Giants Gaming taking on H2K, Lee Sin banned right off the bat, and Xerath to follow.
Okay, and probably said here they want to go for comfort picks for themselves and not really ban out Giants Gaming here specifically. I do still think Jax could be a ban from H2K against Whirleap, unless they want to try and shut him down through just camping him. Well, you can also shut him down by banning him.
Yeah, why not? They're able to spend that one. Not too bad, but there's quite a lot still left on the table. Rek'Sai, Gnar available. Giants let a lot through last time.
Yeah, they did.
This is dangerous.
Yeah, definitely let a lot of their strong picks open. And H2K are banning the same two champions we saw Unicorns of Love ban yesterday against Giants in Jax and the Xerath. Lissandra being taken away in the end. Gnar would be left open. A champ Whirleap should be able to snowball on as well from the early game.
Let's see if that's the strategy for Giants Gaming as they take away Lissandra. Still one more ban available for H2K, and that's going to be Rek'Sai.
Okay, no Rek'Sai for us today so far. Jarvan being logged in. Okay, so giving actually Gnar over to Odoamne on the side of H2K. And also, Thresh has been picked for Giants twice as the first pick. If you look back at week 1 when they were on blue side. This time around, though, get the Jarvan for Frederick.
I think this makes a lot more sense, too. It seemed like the Thresh pickup was more maybe Rydell just not being comfortable on a number of other champions, but you have to evolve past it. You cannot get by in the LCS with one champion.
No, very true, but we also see this very often with the Jarvan lock-in, where on blue side you ban Lee Sin because you expect Rek'Sai to be banned on purple side, and now you have the two out of 3 top tier junglers are gone, and you just take the last one left open. Obviously the Jarvan here, denied from Lulix. We'll have to find something else. We saw him play Elise in week 1. Worked out well in the early game, but obviously she got outscaled and didn't manage to do anything late game against the Copenhagen Wolves.
Yeah, and there is that Gnar. Not too much hesitation for H2K, as they also lock in the Sivir for Hjarnan. So already taking 2 pretty normally strongly contested picks.
Fairly standard response from H2K, getting 2 of the picks for themselves again. No Gnar, Jarvan combination for Giants. And obviously Sivir, we still see her being, her and Graves are the 2 most picked AD carries here in
Very
Europe.
different reasons,
Very different reasons.
I mean, it is your carries typically tend to favor those Graves, whereas Sivir has that ultimate, the On the Hunt, to be able to allow quite a lot of chase in. And we've seen it used to really great effect as well.
We really see a lot of the AD carries focus on just mid-game spikes. We have Corki, we have Graves, very, very strong early to mid-game. And then obviously you have the Sivir, who is strong all around. Laning phase, she can play safe and just push the wave over and over. And obviously because her ulti is so good in teamfights, it makes her strong in the mid and late game, despite her not really getting too much of a damage boost. Just the utility she brings to the team makes her a good pick.
Giants, interested to see if they do, well, they do pick up the Cassiopeia, and that means that they're going to want to try to get this one out to the late game. The Lulu's kind of a pretty big giveaway for that as well. But the question is, do they send it support-wise?
Yeah, that's the thing.
They also have the Cassiopeia to go top too.
All 3 picks so far for Giants are actually flex picks. You can play Jarvan in the top lane. Cassiopeia can be in the mid and obviously top lane as well. And Lola can be pretty much everywhere except for jungle and AD carry. So for now, Giants haven't actually shown too much, except for the fact you have a Cassiopeia. You know she's going to be a target in the laning phase because you want to shut her down there. You don't want to just sit and stack up a tier, stack up a poison. I wouldn't be surprised to see Whirly play it and just have Frederick focus again on camping that top lane to get Whirly ahead.
Here, makes a lot of sense to see Voidal on the Annie. That Sivir-Annie combination has been pretty deadly, as Fnatic proved in week 1, but I'm a little more surprised by the Elise.
Well, again, we saw Lulix play Elise in week 1 and just simply camp out of the top lane, get like 4 kills for Odoamne. And what H2K is doing is saying, okay, you have a Cassiopeia, so we know you want to go late game with her. You know you want to reach the 500 stacks. We are going to have a very, very strong mid game instead. We're going to have good laning phase, good ganking potential from Elise, of course, and engage from any Sivir combined to start these fights here. So H2K really looking to close this one out, or at least get a big enough lead in the mid game to take the win.
Whoever they do face in those lanes, as we mentioned, Giants
still don't know.
It's kind of crazy to think that they've been in the dark about this one, and hey, this would be a little bit interesting as the clock ticks down. They do lock it in, the Ezreal and the Ahri, so I think that gives a little bit more sense about where we're going here.
Yeah, gonna be the Cassiopeia top lane, as we mentioned before here. Another champ for Whirly where he can really snowball, especially if he gets the help from Frederick. If Pepinero and Ahri can roam from the mid lane as well to the top lane here, it should be the goal for Giants again. Get the top laner going, scale him into the late game. And of course, Ezreal Lulu is not a considered very strong lane, but a very safe lane. You have very long range to sit there and just farm backwards, and you have fairly decent level 1 and 2 damage from the Lulu and Ezreal combined.
And we haven't seen that much Ezreal in Europe either since the start of the season. I mean, that's going to be a little bit different. We'll see how Audrey plays it out as they're looking for the last pickup on H2K's side.
Yeah, really want to see actually which build we're going to get from Audrey. If he's going to go for blue build, because you do have enough damage from an Ahri and a Cassiopeia together with the Jarvan. So you can now try and kite around with the Sivir, obviously engaging on you. You have to blue build Ezreal, but we're going to have to see in the game itself what he decides to build.
Picks are locked there. A couple of assassins in this mid lane. Should be quite a lot of action there. The Ahri versus LeBlanc matchup. And I'm really excited for the Cassiopeia top lane versus Gnar. That's going to be interesting.
It's going to be a very annoying matchup for Duamne, because he's going to, first of all, he can't really trade for Cassiopeia as long as she lands a poison onto him. And he knows there's going to be backup for Whirleap in this top lane all the time. Frederick and Pepineo are going to look towards this top lane here, try and get a few kills on Oduamne. So he's going to have to play very, very passive in the laning phase for him. And just wait it out. Don't let this Cassiopeia get going. Let Lulix make some plays on the Elise, and suddenly you can now snowball either your LeBlanc, obviously maybe your Sivir can get going, and that's how H2K can just play the early game here, avoid giving Whirleap a lead in the top lane.
Yeah, that's always seems to be the way to shut down Giants. And H2K, they have had pretty good control in the early game so far, but this first win that they got, they were able to take it all into the late game. We'll see if they can do that one again. That's the real key, I feel, in this matchup.
They don't really want to go too late in this game here because you're against the Cassiopeia, so you want to try and, get a big enough lead in the mid game through LeBlanc.
See if they can pull that one off. Now that you've seen the lineups, tell us who you think is going to win this one. Go ahead and tweet us at LL Esports using the hashtag GIAWin or H2KWin, and we'll add that up into the game. Now, crowd, moment of silence to get this one started off. Everything darkens for just a moment, and here we go. Loading up onto the Rift, it is the Giants versus H2K.
Now let's see what we get here early on from these two teams. And if Giants want to play around Cassiopeia again, as we have seen before.
It is a late game carry champion, just not
it's definitely
exactly the way that you would think of what Whirleap had done in the past. I think this is definitely going to be more his speed than the Maokai was. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, she's a champion who's actually very strong in the laning phase. She doesn't really have any weak points when it comes to a power spike because her tier stacks up very fast. Around 20 minutes, it should be fully stacked. Your poison obviously gives you different power spikes throughout the game 3 times. Her biggest weakness is just lack of mobility. You can gank her in the laning phase, you can catch her out in these team fights, and that's what H2K are looking to do. Also why they picked this Annie-Sivir combination to just flash tippers on the Cassiopeia. And a lot of damage being dealt here early on.
Yeah, Audrey's actually finding hard, and here we go. Ryu gonna jump out of Pepinero, and whoa! There's a first blood, Pepinero going down, but Lulex is gonna follow. Frederick comes in, and these teams have no bones about the early action. Flash burn by Ryu, poison ticking him down. Auto attack, flash, the heal is used. He stays alive, but they use that summoner spell, flash for heal. And this game just got quite started.
Yeah, 2 flashes burned from Giants, but 3 burned on the side of H2K combined also with the heal and offensive summoners from Ryu and Voidal here. So a lot of summoners being used, trading 1 for 1, and due to that fight, we barely got to see any walls being placed actually, just around the bottom side river.
But this is pretty key here because the first blood was given to Ryu, and he is able to immediately pick up a second Doran's. That's gonna make Pepinero's laning phase really difficult.
Especially also because this matchup it's a skill matchup between Ahri and LeBlanc, but the early game where LeBlanc has the distortion, the mobility advantage, she can really determine when she wants to fight against an Ahri. So Ryu can play very aggressive with this double Doran's ring here. Just gotta dodge around the charm, and he will win the trades.
Yeah, Peppy is the one pushing in this early one because Ryu did have to back, and there is a slight level advantage. Nice landing of the charm as well to start this one off. But again, Ryu has that item advantage to start it off. Everything else, standard lanes, both junglers hanging around the bottom side. But I'm curious to see how that affects this later part of the early game.
Yeah, so with both junglers starting on the bottom side of the map, they are looking towards the top lane. Could see them both recall, actually go back and upgrade their jungle item, and then get the red buff, potentially look for the very first gank in the top lane. If Whirleap is pushing it, as I expect him to do on Cassiopeia, that could be an opening for Lulex, but he has to care. But be careful about Frederick and the potential counter gank.
Yeah, I would not be surprised to see both junglers taking trips frequently up to that top side. They want to keep Werlib safe. That has been the Giants' strategy for the most part in this split. H2K, vice versa, have had a lot of success when they've done that, and they know that Werlib is really critical to the success of Giants gaming.
Especially when he's playing this late game carry.
Very immobile late game carry.
Plays the first ward here, so the normal jungle time before all the changes to the jungle was 320 would be like double buff jungler ready to gank. But because people are now doing full clears, it takes a little bit longer for them to get this double buff here. Therefore, well, it could delay his trinket just a little bit, and now has it placed to spot Lulex if he wants to go for a gank.
Speaking of Lulex, he is making his way up to the top side, but he's looking at the Krugs first. Odoamne perfectly happy to just trade a little bit of farm for the time being. Werlib actually a little bit ahead in that. Although in the mid lane, Peppy is quite up on Ryu because of his early back.
Yeah, that early back here in the instant level 2 for Pepinero actually forced Ryu to just sit back and wait for the minions to be pushed to his tower.
That and he's eating charms too. He's actually not dodged
that too.
Many of those.
First gank.
Here we go, Lulex.
Into the top lane.
Gonna send a spider out. That's actually gonna get spotted, so should prompt Werlib to back away immediately, and he does. Lulex going to back as he sees the ward. Well, actually doesn't. Fades away.
He did see the ward disappear, so he now knows the timing on their trinket here for Werlib, knowing exactly when the ward was placed and when he can actually place the next one in about a minute's time. So he can try and play around it. And already picked up the sweeping lens as well on the first back. He can return to the top lane if he wants to, still having the red buff, and trying again to force a flash away from Werlib. He actually doesn't have flash, so Lulex can return to this top lane and go for the next gank.
Yeah, there's still some timing to use in the aftermath of that crazy level 1. Audrey Rydell staying pretty safe in this bottom side. Quite a lot of poke, as you mentioned, from Ezreal.
Yeah.
Yarnan hasn't been too perturbed by it. He's kept up well in farm, but Voidal is taking quite a lot of damage if he's not too careful.
Yeah, right now, I mean, H2K's bottom lane is just going to wait out to level 6 because, again, there is a lot of early damage from Lulu. She's one of the supports who can actually trade the best in the early stages of the game, as long as she controls her mana. So this lane is just a bit of a farm base for now. Rydell, though, has stun charge up, but really want to use it on Rydell.
Oh, he is going to. Half health, though, but Voidal not too healthy himself. Audrey's going to turn it on. Voidal, though, in the front. Rydell extremely low, but he's got the sustain, as you mentioned, the boomerang. He's going to connect both ways on him. That'll force Giants bot lane to think a little bit twice.
Not exactly why Rydell actually avoided, so he didn't really want to use his stun onto Rydell here. But then soon Audrey can jump. Lulex, though.
Yeah, jungle combat, skirmishers smite down, and here we go. Here comes Ryu and Pepinero. Who's going down? Looks like it might be Frederick, and it will be, but Lulex on the return. Peppy comes up with one for himself, and both junglers back to Fountain.
Trading 1 for 1. Both junglers here ended up dying. Frederick didn't actually have his flash from the level 1. Meanwhile, though, because Werlib went back to base and didn't actually teleport to lane, he wanted to get that early tier so he can start getting it stacked up. I really think that is the best thing he can do on a casual. You want to get that tier early. Didn't use teleport back, though, so actually decided to give up a bit of farm to Odoamne.
But Odoamne also made the roam down, trying to help secure that one. Now Peppy is a little bit low. Ryu is going to force him to pop a biscuit in that mid lane, but got to be careful. This starts to get a little bit dangerous. Ryu at level 6 now. Feeling a little bit more confident. Dodges that charm.
Pepinero has no mana, so Ryu can just do whatever he wants. So even if a charm lands, there's no follow-up from Pepinero. Therefore, Ryu can keep trading back and forth once
like
again.
That.
Jumping in.
He can't safely farm at this point, and even though Peppy is a couple CS ahead, that's not going to be the same for long. Forced to back away. Lulex now making his way into the Giants' jungle. Frederick busy clearing out his Raptor camp.
Yeah, and as soon as you have the pressure in the mid lane, it opens up for your jungler to actually walk into the enemy jungle and use that route to get to the bottom lane.
Yeah,
so he's sitting there now. Oh, Andres walks right into it.
Ooh, big trouble. He's going to be able to E away, but not quite enough to kill him. Ignite is ticking his health bar, but he does get away.
Oh,
Frederick here as well. Teleports both being spent. They decided to flip the action switch, and here comes Werlib, but there's no backup. Odoamne's here as well. Flashes, ults. They found Voidal, but there's no follow-up at all, and Voidal takes the kill onto Werlib.
Werlib actually flashed behind 2 guys from H2K and then only managed to ult onto Voidal here, not exactly the target he wanted to get. He should just cancel his teleport as soon as the fight was over. Cancel it, stay in your lane and just sit and farm. Just stack up your tier, stack up your poison. Don't look for early fights in this casual PA if you don't have to in this situation. One-on-one your laning phase, farm, it's all you have to do, and yet he went aggressive for it and actually ended up losing on it.
Yeah, really, really awkward read there and didn't quite work out for them. Looked like it could have been a great escape, but Werlib steps up and volunteers this tribute running into 3 members of H2K. It's going to set him back just a little bit as the rest of the lanes settle back into the farm game.
2 of the early kills have gone to Rio. That is massive for H2K. Their mid game is going to be very strong when you have Sivir Annie to start the fights. Now follow up, and of course you have the LeBlanc who can just assassinate people. It's going to be scary things for H2K, or scary things for Giants in this case, because H2K can really push their lead once they complete the DFG on Rio. Yeah, which is still alive because it's 5.1 for the people who wonder.
Yep, just for a little while. Not yet gone. Frederick now going to jump onto Ryu, who will distort his way away. Pushed a little far forward. And Giants really trying to make early plays here, and I feel like that's fine if you're not Werlib. That really was the key mistake there, and we'll see if it does end up burning them. Now, back to lane, Peppy is there. Ryu gonna jump forward, find some more damage. Just like that, half his health bar is gone, and Pepinero can't return fire.
Just keep dancing around with the distortion. Pepinero would have to blow his ulti to actually follow him if he wanted to, and we haven't seen as much action in this top lane as we expected. One gank from, oh well, I mean, Lewis was up there once and decided to back away, and that was actually it. We haven't seen too much.
Flash is still down for Werlib, by the way, after that escapade in the bottom
teleport
lane.
Flash.
But Lulex has not made too many trips up there. He's been a little bit more interested in getting his clear on. Has the Chilling Smite, as we mentioned before. A little bit tankier on this Elise now.
Yeah, standard build on Elise, you go full tank. Juggernaut coming in as the first item. You can get some magic penetration early if you want some more dueling power.
But they've got so much damage and magic damage in general with Ryu. And
it's purely for the early game. It's purely for the early game. You just get flat magic penetration, so you are stronger in these ganks, or the counter ganks. But he has just gone straight for Ruby Crystals into the Juggernaut. You want to get a bit tanky for the first Dragon fight. Because again, remember, H2K, they want to fight in this mid game. So having this Elise sitting on a 500 HP bonus from a Juggernaut is a big bonus for them.
Pepinero, every time we pan back to him, he's just a little bit low here, and Ryu just finds even more damage. Oh. It's not enough, but it was close.
Ryu has been the first mid laner to keep Pepinero in lane all the time. Pepinero used to just roam to top lane, roam to bottom lane. No, no, no. This time around, Ryu has forced him to stay on this LeBlanc with the 2 early kills. And also Voidal here for Frederick.
He's going to be looking for that. There is no flash available. Voidal, True Shot Barrage comes in. Frederick shielded up, but it's not enough. Voidal drops the Tibbers, and now Rydal has to back away.
So Frederick coming in, he actually tried to flash EQ for the knock-up onto Voidal. He didn't manage to land it. Instead, he ulted on him, and the wild growth from Rydal actually pushed Voidal out of the Cataclysm so he could start walking away a little bit. We also just saw the damage from a level 6 Annie combined with the BF sword on a Sivir.
Here's the dive though, Werlib, he's gonna get stunned and stunned again. The smite is down there, trading tower aggro, and Lulex is going to split it off. Otawamne, and he get away with a hair's breadth.
That was so well played by Lulex and H2K. Notice how he quickly turned around when he was expecting the ulti to come from Werlib. He just turned around, didn't get stunned, just took the damage and could then go in and finish the kill. Really, really nice setup here, and predicting the flash, or the ulti, sorry, from Werlib.
And they've spread them so thin now. Pepinero misses the charm, eats so much damage. Again, Ryu is just making his life extremely difficult. He's already taken down the tower, and now he needs some help from Rydal.
And second game we see now where Giants are in trouble. In the early game, Werlib didn't manage to get it going. Frederick didn't manage to find the right ganks, and suddenly they're falling behind, just like they did yesterday against Unicorns of Love. And we do see also Werlib now going Giants build, want to get the Rylai's as his first completed item, and then you get the Archangel after once your tier is fully stacked.
H2K in a very comfortable position right now, establishing a bit of vision control, some roams by Voidal to get some of that vision control up, but Giants also trying to make sure that they aren't going to be in the dark when this dragon starts.
Yeah, we were looking at Archer and this Ezreal in the champ select and wonder which kind of build he wants to go for. He's going Trinity Force, and then should be into a Blade of the Ruined King, a second item, or a BT if you want a bit more poke damage. But Blade of the Ruined King seems to be the standard after Trinity Force when you don't go tier on Ezreal. So this is basically to get a mid-game spike for him, where he doesn't have to wait to stack up this tier, which gets stronger and stronger going towards the late game ulti when it gets fully stacked. But he's just going full mid-game, get a Trinity Force, and be able to duel or fight against H2K when you know they're going to be the strongest.
Yep, now Pepinero in some more trouble. Ryu's going to find him, and the damage.
Thank you, DFG.
Once more, the DFG comes in handy. That's going to prompt a Dragon start for H2K. They're going to try to grab it all and more. Dragon going down to about half health here, and there is no response from Rydell and Adri, although the True Shot Barrage was not quite enough. A little early, and Lulex smites it down.
And the thing is here again about Ryu in this mid lane. Everyone says he's really good one-on-one. Like when you talk to the mid laners in Europe, they're like, yeah, Ryu is very good one-on-one, great mechanics, but he's just not really working with his team. This game and the game yesterday, he got a great start in the lane phase, and he's really using it just to snowball it completely.
And now he's roaming a little bit. This tower is gone. Whirlip has to run out, but look at that. Health bar is so low, he flashes away. That time, the flash actually ensures his survival, but H2K grabs a turret down on bottom. They're just grabbing everything where they can.
Yeah, and Frederick, because he can't really follow all these quick rotations from H2K, decided to pick up a second pair of boots, see if he gets a bit of extra mobility. Sadly for him, the game doesn't work that way.
That's a little too bad, you realized, just a little bit after that. But Ryu has been magnificent in this mid lane, and he was underperforming a little bit last week. Started to step up a little bit more, but against Peppy, you're right. He's kept him in check. He's been 2-3 steps ahead. And on this LeBlanc, he's made it very clear. Well, I can't even talk about that because Adri is in a little bit of trouble himself, actually going to burn both of his summoners to try to escape, and he should be able to walk it out from the Tibbers. But back to Ryu. This is why DFG is getting removed.
Well, this is at least the first week we actually see Ryu in Europe perform well. Because when Rocket at IM Cologne, it didn't work out for him. Millennium obviously failed to even qualify to the expansion tournament where they actually lost to Giants, funny enough, in that game 2-1. And a game where Pepinero outplayed Ryu in the mid lane in the wins for Giants. Well, and now he's getting some revenge while they're both in the LCS.
In the expansion tournament as well. H2K, Giants faced off. We all know how that one ended. A couple of times, as a matter of fact. And it's starting to look a little bit more that way again. 5,000 gold or so ahead for H2K at 15 minutes in.
I mean, H2K in the expansion tournament was 3-0 against Giants. It was very one-sided games. And every single one of the games, Whirlip actually got destroyed one-on-one against Odo Amne, or well, we can say 2v1 in this situation because there's been quite a few ganks on him. But he went from having like a 6 KDA against Recent Gaming to drop down like under 1 KDA against H2K in the final of the expansion tournament. So they really know how to play against Giants. They know everything about them. They've faced them so many times, and they're showing it here. Very aggressive early plays, picking a comp that can punish them in the mid game and can engage onto Giants.
Well, and the communication is quite well too. A lot of people wondered when Ryu joined the team how that would exactly work out. Of course, Prawley was mentioning that in the interview, that it's not really as much of an issue and they just kind of mind meld together. But they're really showing a lot of togetherness, and you know, as a replacement for Favivin, it seems like Ryu is starting to come into his own, working out quite well in this game.
Yeah, definitely looking better for him. See if he can keep assassinating people. H2K now have split up in a 1-3-1 because they're so strong on every single member here. You can just put the LeBlanc down in a one-on-one in the bottom lane, and she should be able to either force someone to go back or kill them and then take the tower. So H2K here just trying to spread out Giants and keep getting these one-on-one and 2v2 fights.
They have spread him pretty thin, and they're not even really worried about Whirlip at this point because he's been set so far behind that by the time that late-game Cassiopeia becomes even close to an issue, at this rate they'll have knocked down all the inhibitors.
Yeah, we're gonna have to see how Whirlip can even play the team fights, because you know Voidl is gonna have a Tibbers ready for him every single time. And then Ryu can follow in with DFG and just pop him.
Yeah, and there's not as much peel too. I mean, this is the thing, you've got the Lulu Wild Growth, and that's about it, really, to try to keep someone alive here. And here we go, Lulex getting a little bit far forward. Pepinero trying for the charm, not quite connecting. Teleport coming for Odo Omni. A big Tibbers is going to connect at Pepinero's health bar. So low, and Frederick now can't quite flash the wall. He's going down to Odo Omni. It could have been worse, but still, H2K leading the charge on this tower as the teleport comes in from Whirlip. What was he doing? Ryu with another kill, and that'll be a tower too.
H2K is simply outplaying Giants in terms of just the mechanical play here. Notice again how Lulex, he dodges the charm, and then instantly, 3-man Tibbers from Voidl. H2K wins another fight, even get a kill on Whirlip. His teleports have been awful this game.
That was the second time I was about to say that Whirlip is teleported in with no backup whatsoever. Really questionable decision-making from him. And that is going to be H2K picking up even more of a lead in this game as they head back to mid to clear some waves out.
Yeah, we're not even hitting 2 items yet for any of the guys on H2K. Morello and Omicron coming in for Rio, obviously. We need a second item on Yarnan here. He just hit it on a long sword, so it could be a ghost plate simply to really snowball again this mid game here to get that 6-second power spike and more mobility as well to dodge around the Ari charm, dodge around the poison from a Cassiopeia, because she needs to land it for it to really do damage. If you fire one Twin Fang and you have no poison on the target, you suddenly have such a long cooldown on it that you lose all your DPS.
Giants now trying to grab a little bit more control back over by this Dragon Pit. It's due up in about 30 seconds. So if they can grab the Skull Crab, they'll be in a decent position. But however, H2K is just so strong at starting these fights. They're going to have to sneak it. Frederick is in the middle. Ryu actually looking for him. The chains have connected, but he has Rydell there for the support. Frederick still has to back out. There's no way they can start this Dragon now.
And the vision is gone. Well, the vision is still there.
Still quite a lot of wards,
the control is gone.
They don't really have any way to get to them, and now they're starting to lose this inner tower down the middle. H2K more interested in taking out the objectives that don't come back, and it's gone.
Yeah, so with all the guys from Giants trying to set up for a Dragon.
Chases down Ryu, whoa!
Ooh, into the base gates. They're here,
a
5.1.
little bit too much damage, but they should be able to back out of this one, start the Dragon up themselves. Giants still licking their wounds over this, but Frederick is back up.
And look how many wards Giants have placed. Look how many wards Giants have placed here around that Dragon and still can't get it because Frederick...
Ooh, that time was a little too late.
Close enough.
Hey, Audrey's getting an A for effort on those ones, but it's not going to get in the Dragon. 2 for 2 now over to H2K. 5 towers to 0, and H2K have looked fairly flawless in this game.
I mean, again, look at the deep vision from them, so they can see everything on the bottom side of the map, which means Rio can jump in aggressive in like these small pick opportunities for him, because he knows, okay, nobody's nearby from Giants because I can see everything on the map.
Speaking of side as well, H2K's invested in those upgraded green trinkets. Extra pink
early on
for Harden. Yeah, very, very early. Oh, Ryu, got to be more careful than that, rather, although he will be able to juke Frederick for just a moment. Yes, the blue buff goes on the real LeBlanc.
Yeah, I really like the totem upgrades here from H2K. It's a greater stealth totem and a greater vision totem for Yarnan on his side. So you get that pink ward, you get obviously the green ward as well. 1 minute cooldown on it, and it stays for 3 minutes like a normal ward. So it's very, very smart to consistently get wards done in the enemy jungle and keep up this control you have on the map so you can create these picks. And
there's the collapse. The Tibbers is going to land on Werlib, who will flash away from this one. Odoamne, big Gnar smash, and Yarnan gets Werlib. Frederick jumps in for the heroic effort, but he's got no backup as well, and that is going to be a 3-for-0 smash. And a double kill going over to Yarnan as they look to push in mid again.
And again, H2K really pushing their lead here. They have the engage options, they use them, and Voidal,
charmed up,
stays alive.
Pepinero just doesn't have the damage he needs right now, only sitting on the Morello Nomicon as a completed item, and I don't think he can even ward off this 5-man assault on the tower. Ryu dodges the charm again, goes in DFG, and he does not quite have the damage, but he sure is scaring the hell out of Pepinero.
Yeah, just pushing him away back into his own fountain. Inhibitor now for H2K, 21 minutes in. They're really pushing this.
They've been able to grab that first inhibitor, or rather inhibitor turret at 21 minutes in.
Oh, look at Ryu.
Yep, there we go. Still waiting to see if he can get the assassination. Werlib won't get close enough. But yeah, you gotta be really worried when your inhibitor's down at 21.5. You don't know where H2K is on the map for all the money they've spent investing in wards. They haven't really got a lot of information out of it.
No, and Ryu's still waiting for the one pick. He's soon gonna realize Giants is like, yeah, we're not even nearby. Let's just push a mid lane. Sled. He's gonna sneak in behind them. There's no wards from Giants to actually spot him here.
Yeah, Giants will be able to take this tower,
well,
but it's so little and so late. Odoamne teleporting in for the flank. Can they get the collapse off? Voidal eats a charm, a lot of damage, but Giants not sure where to go. Werlib very low, gets knocked up, locked up. There we go. Yarnan comes in with the pick, and Odoamne on the chase, charmed up. Audrey still pushing damage onto him. Pepinero trying for the assassination, not quite enough. They get one. They nearly
get
pick
two.
Odoamne. There we go. That looks like Frederick.
Oh.
Voidal actually is the one who goes down in that one. That was really hectic second win, but still H2K coming out on top. They've got waves pushing in every lane now, and it's disaster mode for Giants Gaming.
Ryu going in again.
Yeah, gonna find Pepinero. He gets charmed. Still has the damage and the chains, forcing the wild growth out as a tower gets taken on top. 7-1 is the tower score for H2K.
Absolutely fantastic play by H2K here. Making sure Giants never get a chance to just sit back and farm. I mean, always fighting, teleporting behind them, complete vision control in the jungle of Giants as well.
They don't give a response time to Giants. It's just
not at all.
One attack, one place, another place, and you're forcing them to play on your own terms. And this is how Giants had lost their last game, but H2K can keep it up.
This was a 6-minute tier from Whirly, and it's not even fully stacked yet.
Just take a look at that.
How slow it is for him. Yeah, so Odo Armor teleporting in. Ryu, of course, has been hiding in the jungle of Giants. Well, let's take a bit of poke, but Whirly here actually blocked by Yana with his spell shield, and he's not been having a great game on this Cassiopeia here. H2K are just playing around it, dancing here, not really face planting their way into Whirly and Giants as a team. But all in all, just a beautiful setup, and obviously Pepinero managed to get a turn kill in the end.
Yeah, even with the Tibbers drop there, yeah, Pepinero still grabbing a little bit back into this, but he's 2-2-1. If you want to call that sort of the bright spot of Giants right now, it's a little bit of a stretch because, yeah, 0-5 on Warlib's Cassiopeia. He's made some really oddball decisions that haven't worked for the team this game. He's been getting danced around by this H2K team, this very mobile H2K team, I might add. And yeah, they've avoided all of his ultimates.
Exactly, because H2K are so mobile and because they have this Sivir here to speed people up. That's actually why I was not saying expecting, but I would have understood if Atri had gone for like the blue build Ezreal, because you have so much damage from a Cassiopeia and an Ahri, and you can go for that build if you're not the main damage source on your team, which he's not. And then you actually have some kiting potential together with a Lulu to stop H2K from just running into them every time and getting the engage they wanted to. But instead, Baron being started and no reaction from Giants.
Yeah, they're not really feeling confident enough to even move out that far, although Lulik's a little bit low, will get the smite down, and Ryu is actually fending off the entire Giants team, and well done. They'll get the empowered recall. Excellent control of the neutral objectives this game, as well as the towers. They've barely given up a thing.
Oh yeah, I mean everything has just been in favor of H2K in this game here. And credit to them. They're really showing how they've learned from week 1. Not just gonna give time to the other team so they can sit and scale up. And funny enough, actually also played against the Cassiopeia and gave her to like 50 minutes into the game. And Soren from the Copenhagen Wolves could then start winning fights with 1100 AP.
Yeah, this game is going a little bit fast for the Giants' liking. As another Dragon looks to be started up here by H2K. They'll take care of the Rift Scuttler first. And they've just got a lot of damage to be able to take this one down quick. No reaction from Giants Gaming. This should be number 3.
Yeah, and instantly you see Ryu going down to the bottom lane, just setting up the wave, start making it pushing in with the Baron. Buff on them as well. You want to get the mid lane, and obviously you want to get the top lane going ideally. But 2 lanes is enough when you have the Baron buff. And there's not really enough wave to the side of Giants, because keep in mind, Cassiopeia needs a bit of time before she can kill these minions. So they really have Ahri to actually land the orb.
Yeah, he found Audrey, not quite enough damage, but they are still a big threat. And when you have that potential to 100-0 someone, it's very, very difficult to defend the siege. Sharnan goes up to the mid and tries to push in as this inhibitor just respawns there. Should be an easy take here for H2K, while Ryu still fending off waves on the bottom. H2K having their way with this Giants team, but Ryu is caught on a charm. Not enough damage, though, from Pepinero.
And as soon as Teleport is going to be ready for Odo Amna, then he's going to go to the top lane and start pushing that one in and be able to join his team. Or
Ryu finds Frederick.
Some picks.
Yeah, they are looking for it. Pepinero trying to find a few of his own. Tibbers is down. Voidal getting the kill. Looking for Rydal now as Odo Amna. Big Gnar back. He finds Audrey. Here comes Lulix. Do they have the damage? They're still poking down the tower. They do, it looks like, and they clean house. Frederick, the only one alive. Inhibitor should go down. Ryu, actually, that was the wrong Ryu. I got juked on that. I was like, what is he doing? Oh, that's the wrong LeBlanc. They're going to start to be able to push down these towers. Nexus turrets, very, very low. I don't think Frederick could even stop this. He's not even trying. This looks like it's going to be GG. 27 minutes into the game. The Nexus is falling, and it will be H2K going for 2-2 at the start of the spring split.
Yeah, 2 wins here in the week 2 for H2K. Definitely bouncing back after a bit of a tough week 1. And just showing some great plays all around. Very mid-game focused comp. They got the lead early on and they used it. I mean, Ryu on the blank 2-0. Very early in the laning phase, got a DFG. just start assassinating people left and right.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter how much you build up for the late game. If you can't even make it halfway there, you're not going to have much of a chance. So H2K comes up with a big win, and that man in the middle, Ryu, really, really shining. And he has been, as you mentioned, one of the few to really keep Pepinero locked up. And the rest of the Giants have something to fear from this H2K squad.
Oh, they do, and I mean, for Giants, they beat Copenhagen Wolves and MYN in week 1. Now lost obviously to Unicorns and Love and H2K, so haven't even faced the top dogs yet. Missing SK, missing Fnatic, of course, we're gonna have to see what they can do against them. For now, we have seen a way to play against Giants is ban the Jax and make sure Whirlip has no chance of getting rolling in the early game, and suddenly the team doesn't seem to know exactly what to do, and they just fall too far behind in the